The Freedom Convoy is on its way to Ottawa, and I'm just about to speak to my friend Cian Bext, who is on the ground in the middle of it in Eastern Canada right now. If you have been living under a rock, the Freedom Convoy are a group of Canadian truckers opposing COVID mandates, particularly vaccine mandates that would cause thousands of them to lose their jobs and pose serious risk to infrastructure and supply chains. They departed Prince Rupert, my part of the country, January 22nd, and as of today are all the way in Ontario, one day away from being face-to-face with Justin Trudeau, who has had his own quarrels with this caravan, dismissing it as just a fringe minority.
The small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing.
You know, can just be swept away, can ignore that. The only problem, though, with this characterization of the caravan is that Canadians and people across the world have donated $7 million to pay for their fuel and support them. Tucker Carlson has supported this group. Joe Rogan has supported them. Elon Musk just came out for them yesterday. Even Kate from Lost, Evangeline Lilly, posted an Instagram post saying hashtag Canadian Truckers for Freedom, supporting them. You have had 1,000 different attempts to smear this group. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh has disavowed them. A bunch of people on the left, NDP Liberals, calling them racists, white supremacists, hashtag Flu Trucks Clan. One of my favorite parts of this, though, is Jagmeet Singh's very own brother-in-law, who isn't white, is one of the top donors to this caravan, $13,000. The smear attempts are not going well, we'll just put it that way. There's massive copium going on from Canadian politicians trying to pretend it's not happening, and if it is happening, well then it's racist, and if brown people are supporting it, well then it's just a fringe minority. But tomorrow, it looks like they are going to have to come face to face with their own denial, with all of these truckers standing in Ottawa, peacefully protesting and saying, this is not what Canadians want. But let's speak to Cian and see what's going on the ground right now. Cian, how are you and where are you? What's going on over there?
I am currently in the middle of Northern Ontario. I'm at a subway right now, actually pulled over on the side of the road. The convoy's passing right behind me. And we're on our way to Ottawa. The energy is really high. It's really exciting to be a part of this convoy, covering it from the inside.
How many actual trucks are there in the convoy? We get so many mixed reports, like it's a few hundred, it's thousands. What are you seeing there on the ground?
Yeah, it's not 50,000, but it's a lot. And it's so much that it's logistically quite difficult to count. Because, I've tried to fly drone over, but it's so cold and so long that the drone will die before it can get to the end of the convoy. So it's a lot. I would say it's upwards of 200 commercial vehicles. It changes depending on where we are, because some people only join for a small amount. 200 commercial vehicles, so like semis, and then over 400 personal vehicles.
Right, and those drones can fly for like 20 minutes. That's wild. And you're seeing lots of people on the side of the road, hey? Is it just like a few people every half hour? Is it, like these videos we're seeing of dozens of people?
Yeah, on the prairies, it was at every single range road intersection with the Trans-Canada. There was a crowd of people. Between halfway, pretty much after Regina until Ontario, it was mostly Hutterites on rural roads. Tons of them. Like, you would not believe how many of these people there were. They were so great too. They were cooking hamburgers for everyone, and such hospitable people. And in Regina, as we entered the perimeter road of Regina, easily over, 5,000 people on the side of the road, welcoming us in Winnipeg.
That's crazy. And you guys are in Ontario right now, like a day away from Ottawa?
Yeah. We're rolling into Ottawa tomorrow morning.
How do the truckers feel about the way that they've been portrayed in the media this last week?
It makes them frustrated, and rightfully so, right? The mainstream media, I watched just for the lulz, I watched CBC last night, the National, and they're so far off base. Actually, I have to give them a little bit of credit. There was two segments, right? There was the actual hard news segment about what it was and the people that were on the ground meeting the convoy. It actually wasn't the worst CBC coverage I've ever seen. The problem was when Rosemary Barton comes on and the anchors come on and the pundits come on, Chantal Hubert or whatever her name is, and they all start dumping on this convoy, saying that they're insurrectionists, misogynists, hateful people, Nazis, white supremacists. That's not what this is. You're telling me that there is over 100,000, like the people that are coming out on the side of the road, over 100,000 by this point. You're telling me there's over 100,000 Nazis, misogynists, and white supremacists in this country? Yeah, I doubt there's more than a dozen. So the mainstream media is putting them in a terrible light, and they're doing that on purpose because Justin Trudeau has never been more afraid. People have started to get their voice here in Canada, and this convoy has given them that voice. Every sign says, go to Ottawa, take this message with you, don't stop, keep fighting for freedom. This convoy is the conduit to which the people of Canada are standing up.
Yeah, especially, are there tens of thousands of Indigenous, Nazi misogynists out there? I've been seeing your interviews up there on Twitter, and you're talking to a wide variety of different people on the ground. You mentioned insurrectionists, and I just saw a report. It's the first thing that came up on my YouTube when I looked up the convoy, saying this far-right protest, the internet are trying to make it Canada's January 6th. People saying that these truckers are going to storm the Capitol in Ottawa, have an insurrection. What's going on with that allegation?
Yeah, so we actually have some news that we're going to publish here very shortly at thecountersignal.com or at convoycoverage.com. We've received internal documents from the Trudeau government showing that they're actively preparing for an insurrection, teaching employees what to do, what documents to shred, what hard drives to run a screwdriver through, and what to do when their floors get occupied by these convoy truckers. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But the fact that Justin Trudeau is using government resources to push that narrative in a way that he knows is going to go back to the mainstream media is negligent, it's wrong, it's malicious even, because these people are hockey moms and dads. They're truckers that are out of work. They are nurses, they are grocery store workers, they are general laborers. Every type of Canadian is in this protest, mostly blue collars though. And they're all peaceful people. They're great people. They're people that you want to be your neighbor, not insurrectionists, not white supremacists. But that's what they do, right? They're coping. This is a coping mechanism for them to deal with the trauma of realizing, because I'm sure it is traumatic for them to realize that there's so many Canadians that despise Trudeau and his agenda and what he's doing to this country. It's a big, massive cope.
I've even seen warnings from media outlets. Don't go to Ottawa on this day. Don't be in the streets. Stay home. Do you think that's because this is going to be such a massive, peaceful protest outside that the imagery, they might want to reduce that? Like, what are you seeing happen tomorrow in your mind?
Well, there's a lot of misinformation out there already. People are already sharing photos from a convoy that happened 2 years ago to laugh about how the turnout is already small. The turnout, it's going to be number one priority for the Trudeau government to either make it something that was small turnout and fizzled out, and they have games to play that will make it look like that, or they'll try and push this insurrection violent narrative. One of the two. It'll all depend on what happens on the ground. It's going to be a very fluid situation. For
sure. And you'll be there live reporting?
Yeah, for sure. People can follow me at @TheRealKean on Twitter, and our reporting is going to be published at convoycoverage.com.
Cool. Now, just for my last couple of questions here, how are people on the ground there feeling about the political reactions from the Conservative Party, O'Toole, and obviously Trudeau and the likes?
Yeah, so they're obviously just as furious with Trudeau as they've always been. I've asked a few of them, what do you think about Aaron O'Toole finally coming on board and supporting the convoy? And they say, Aaron who? Like, they actually don't know who this guy is, the leader of the opposition. That's like saying you didn't know who Mitt Romney was when he was running against Obama. It would be insane. But that's the political system in Canada, right? They have no idea who the opposition is because the opposition for the past 4 years has acted like Justin Trudeau. Since the pandemic started, there has been no opposition. So Canadians have that's why this has been such a buildup over time, because there's been no political outlet for these people, and that's what this convoy is about.
Well, we were chatting earlier today, and you were saying that when you see all these people with signs up out in their driveways, this is the first thing they've gotten to be a part of for years.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, every Santa Claus parade has been canceled for the past 2 years. Every Canada Day parade has been canceled. So as this convoy rolls through town, it's greeted like a parade. It's greeted by every single person in town coming out. Sault Ste. Marie was insane. Every Thunder Bay was crazy. Winnipeg, huge. All these people have not seen this much excitement. They've never felt over the past little while like someone's honestly there for them to fight for them. And they see this convoy and they just, latch onto it because it's the only thing they have. It's the only hope that they have.
What is the main message these people are trying to get across? I mean, it's crazy to me in general that it's a bunch of truckers having to represent hundreds of thousands of Canadians and people worldwide, and not politicians in Canada, not media. So just to give an opportunity for a platform, you've been amongst these people for their trip now. What is their main message they're trying to get across to the world and to Canada?
They have 4 points, and that's good. They need to consolidate their asks and their demands. They now have 4 points. The first one is to get rid of the trucker mandate, cross-border vaccine mandate. That was how it started, but then it's developed into more than that. They are demanding all vaccine passports, provincially and federally, are terminated. They want to be able to move freely. Basically, what they want is a restoration of the charter rights that they're guaranteed under our Constitution. So these are pretty basic things that they want. And whether or not Trudeau is going to give it to them, who knows? What the last thing that they want is an end to the divisive rhetoric, which they just want to be treated like normal people. They want Trudeau to quit vilifying the unvaccinated. And that's something that everyone should be able to get behind. If you're vaccinated, you should understand that if you're vaccinated, you should understand that the people who are unvaccinated are not filthy. They're not less than you. They're not subhuman, as Justin Trudeau would want you to believe. He actually wants you to believe that if you're unvaccinated, you are undeserving of any sort of respect. That's their message here. This convoy wants a return of just a semblance of respect and freedom in this country.
So basically just no new normal. We want to go back to what Canada was before all this.
Yeah, they've looked the Great Reset in the eyes, and they've mounted the Great Resistance. They are tired of this new idea of, the Chinese virus, the Wuhan virus, it came and it's stuck with us now, and now we're just going to have to live with less freedoms. That's not, they're done with that idea. They want to go back to 2019, pick up where they left off, and to be done with this pandemic policy, these mandates, these unfree mandates. They want to mandate freedom is what they want to do.
And I will say, I think there's a lot of people on all sides of this issue, all sides of politics. I've seen protesters saying Democrat vaccinated voter against mandates. Like, this is not a partisan issue at all, in my opinion. And I'm sure you're seeing a lot of that on the ground too. People from all backgrounds, hey?
Yeah, absolutely. They're all uniting around this cause. It's something that I've never seen before, really, in Canada. And you don't see Trudeau's base on the side of the highway cheering on a conservative protest very often. But here we are in 2022, Indigenous Canadians, Sikh Canadians, and everyone in between is here to rally for this convoy. It's really inspiring to see.
All right, Kian, where can people find you? Where can people find updates about what's going on the ground? This was great. Thank you so much for this. But yeah, let's get everyone following your coverage. Where would that be?
The Real Kian on Twitter, KEEAN, and then convoycoverage.com is where we're publishing everything. That's about it. We are going to be covering live from the Hill. We're going to be covering everything, the side of the story that the mainstream media doesn't want you hearing.
All right, well, I will be watching tomorrow, and I'm sure a lot of my audience will as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.